I consider Why Must I Be a Crustacean in Love an example of when one of these season 2 character episodes is actually quite successful because it presupposes that because it's about Zoidberg that it's going to be a science fiction concept. And so it's essentially Zoidberg's Amok time. They go back to the Decapodian homeworld. It's like Decapod 10, I think it's called. And Zoidberg has to find a mate in order to deposit his male jelly into. It's a grotesque episode, actually. For those who like what your kind of gross alien visuals, this is great for that, I guess. But no, I found the episode very funny. It's the first proper Zoidberg episode, who's a fun character, one of the most memorable and iconic of this show. And while the episode is very silly, it works for me, and I actually think this is a solid piece of Futurama. And one of the examples of, I would compare this is like the better version of the Hermes episode, we'll discuss a bit later in the season.
Oh, yeah.
I actually fairly positive. I don't know if I wouldn't call this a great episode, but like quite good overall, to be honest.
Well,
and
I guess Fry gets entwined into it in a way that no other character really does in the Hermes episode, except for maybe Bender. But even then, he only gets entwined with it in a MacGuffin sense.
Yeah,
Whereas Fry, in this episode, him giving advice to Zoidberg, and then whatever Zoidberg's love interest his name is.
Oh, Edna.
Yeah. She ends up like thinking Fry's a romantic genius or something. And so obviously, that's when you then get the great part of Zoidberg getting jealous and challenging Fry to
Classic.
which is just peak of this episode. This episode has a great ending as well, which I guess helps it in comparison to most of those other, I guess, more character-centric episodes that kind of all have climaxes that let you down a little bit, whereas this one is some of the best of season 2 at the end, when obviously the Amok time Star Trek homage fight. And then once it's over, Fry gets his arm cut off and starts beating Zoidberg with it. I've always loved that image.
I saw that on the television as a kid, and just like the fact that happened seemed so subversive, and then Fry saying bastard on television just seemed great. It seemed amazing. It was fun, and all the Decapodian visuals, it allows for it's always great when a Futurama episode is set in an alien world. It gives it so much opportunity and polish, I feel.
Yeah, and it's the first time you see it as well, right? You get to know Zoidberg's society.
Yeah.
Because up until that, he was just like a giant squid.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw other members of his race prior. We certainly see them afterward, but...
In the Fistful of Dollars episode, there's one.
Oh, yes, you're correct. Yeah, the auction.
And when they go to watch a movie, I think that's later, actually, yeah. There's a film based on them.
Oh, Planet of the Clams. Yeah, lovely.
So yeah, no, I did always like the Decapodians. And then later as well, they get another episode on
Taste of Freedom in season 4, which is quite good, pretty good too, I think.
Yeah, the Zoidberg episodes are good. They're generally, at least.
Last Lobstertainment was considered a bit of a negative episode.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one though.
I actually kind of like it. It's silly, even sillier than this one, because it's Zoidberg wanting to be a great Hollywood comedy actor. But it's even sillier than this, but it's still kind of fun. I mean, it's as absurd as that sounds, considering our lambast Futurama for being too silly every now and again when it doesn't have to be, because, I guess it has that license to be silly because it's science fiction / fantasy set in the future, has all the technology, they can do whatever it wants. But it's just kind of nice when it can do the more smart but grounded and conceptual episodes, because that's a lot of what's in the first season, and I think this one gets a bit sillier, the second season.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
feel the sillier episodes in the first season are like Garbage and Slurm Factory. Slurm Factory is just lazy. I feel like by the time we get to I second that emotion, and even this episode to some degree, and some of the ones following Hermes or Honking, with situations where Futurama's like, we can get away with doing a silly episode, but it kind of, it doesn't hurt the serious episodes around it. It just, those episodes those silly episodes like Honking feel jarring in comparison. That's all. Because, it just seems like, fantasy. There are no rules as opposed to a science fiction show. I mean, I feel like it's an absurd or a strange distinction, but somehow a werecar just seems plainly inane to me. Whatever. I don't think I have much else to share about the Crustacean in Love episode here.
Yeah, werecars are inane, but Jewish lobsters, they're the best. God love Zoidberg.
Yeah, because, yeah, absolutely.
So this episode leans on Zoidberg, and we're all the better for it.
I agree. Thanks, everyone.